KLAV, Las Vegas.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
Hey, this is Lee St. John, and welcome back for another edition of Quiet Achievers and Unsung Heroes. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful week between last week's program and this one. Now, as always, we have an incredible person to bring to you today. Now, this one's a little different from some as well, because some of our Quiet Achievers and Unsung Heroes, as you know, are doing a lot of, like real charity work and, are not, majors out in the business world and everything. Now, this guy, get this, 3 degrees, the youngest senior manager ever with a major Fortune 500 company, GXL Magazine's most influential people of 2007, Outstanding Atlanta 2007, one of the Power 30 under 30, although now he's actually in his 30s, so as far as I'm concerned, he's old because he's still at least a decade behind me. Chris Cooper, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much, Lee. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, you're over on the other side of the continent from us.
I'm by a month, though.
Yes, and the weather over there today?
It's actually a little chilly today.
Good.
But the sun is shining, so it's always a good day when the sun is shining.
It is rather. Well, welcome to the program. Now, the program is Quiet Achievers and Unsung Heroes. Now, although I just rattled off some of your professional accolades, and you've had quite a few in that arena, on the other side of the fence, you are one of the people who I've found is just stepping up time and time and time and time again. And it's that side of the fence where, as far as I'm concerned, you are an achiever and you are a hero, but you're not necessarily getting as many accolades from that side of the fence. So that's what I want to bring to people today.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay. First of all, can you fill us a little bit in, though? Let's flesh out the professional side of things so people can hear, your major, more professional commercial successes.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, as you said, my background, I have 3 academic degrees, a degree in mathematics, a degree in industrial engineering, and a degree in business.
You were obviously you were just bored, right?
For a living. So it's something totally different. But actually, I believe probably my claim to fame in the business world was that I was not your typical science, math, and engineering person. I had way too much personality. They teased me, told me I had way too much style.
Chris, you're just not the normal run of the mill, I don't think, in any box. But anyway.
Exactly. So because, through those types of experiences, as you said, became one of the youngest senior manager ever with a Fortune 500 company. Mm-hmm. I quickly went up the corporate ladder and then realized one day that, this is great, this is wonderful. I've done consulting, I've done project management, I've done all these other great and wonderful things that people say they want to do when they grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had not a midlife crisis or even a quarter-life crisis, but I had a time where I looked around the room in one of our executive board meetings, and I looked, and I didn't want to be like anybody in that room. A lot of their personal lives were kind of messed up. A lot of their professional lives, although they looked glamorous and wonderful, there was a void there.
Yep.
And I've always known that I was put here to definitely help individuals and to give back. So at that time, actually in 2004, I officially created my company, which is called Execute Your Passion, LLC. And what I do is just that. I do coaching, training, and speaking, and I just ultimately speak life into people. And it is the most fulfilling and amazing, I think, job that anybody can ever want to have.
Fantastic. And from the personal side of things now, you're happily married with a gorgeous, cute little person.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've been married for 3 years now, and we have a 2-year-old who is definitely a terrible 2, but a good 2 all the same. He has a lot of personality. I wonder where he gets that from.
Yeah.
And he has this unique quality that I tease my wife about. I say, well, he has this kind of charming, charismatic nature, much like his dad. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, very shy, retiring, modest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he has this commanding, direct presence, very similar to my wife. So I believe that he got the best of both worlds. So watch out, world, for Christopher J. Cooper, number 2.
Number 2. Now, Christopher J. Cooper, number 1, though, didn't start out like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. Now, here's where I want. So we've deliberately given people this, isn't it wonderful? It's bright and shiny, and he has this wonderful career and this wonderful home life. Now, here's where I want you to fill people in on what it was like for you way back in the beginning, because you are like a lot of our listeners listeners there as well, there were just, let's just say, some challenges and hurdles.
Exactly. And those experiences are what really makes you stronger. Well, I can go all the way back. Well, first of all, I was born in inner city Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, one of the roughest neighborhoods in Philadelphia. My mother had me when she was only 16 years old.
And now, even just the fact that she had you, that wasn't necessarily going to...
My family was so against her having a child because she was so young and all those types of things. My mother said that something, very influential happened to her. She literally said that God let her know that I would one day grow up and do exactly what I'm doing now. And it's just amazing. I thank her for making that intelligent decision. And because of that, I'm able to affect people's lives today. But as I said, I grew up in Philadelphia. My biological father left my life probably when I was right around 2 years old, and didn't even resurface until I was about 21. So growing up, it was interesting. I had three amazing ladies in my life: my mother, my grandmother, and my Aunt Mary. But there was a void there because there was no one at that time in particular to really show me how to become a man.
And now, also on that though, you didn't even speak until you were 3.
Oh my goodness! Yes, I forgot. Yes, I didn't speak until until I was 3 years old. Now, I do remember specifically speaking to my toys, but never to people. I don't know if I was just grunting and people got me what I wanted or what have you. But once again, 3 women and the only little boy there, I was the only child forever. So they were like, yes, I think I pretty much got what I needed. But yeah, I didn't speak until I was 3 years old, and I remember this story. It's hilarious, and it's amazing what you can remember from when you're a small child. And when I was 3 years old, I remember it was a huge blizzard in Philadelphia. We have a mall downtown called the Gallery, and it's really like an underground mall. And we were going to the mall specifically that day to get me snow boots. Now, I did understand things. I didn't necessarily speak, but I did understand things. And they had taken me to all these different doctors, like, oh, gosh, what's wrong with him? Why is he not speaking? And the doctor said, you know what, nothing's wrong with him. He's very bright, very intelligent. He'll speak when he's ready. So anyway, fast forward. I'm 3 years old. We're going to get me snow boots. Now, we arrive in the mall, and for some reason I noticed that my aunt and my grandmother were in the little girl section. Now, at 3 years old, you don't know a lot of things, but you know the difference between a boy and a girl. And I knew that I was a boy and not a girl. And they picked up these little small pink, ruffly, frilly-type boots, and I looked at them, and I looked at the boots, and I looked down at my feet, and I looked at them, and I looked down at my feet, and I said, just blurted out, I don't want girl boots, I want boy boots. And they, oh my gosh, it was like they saw a ghost. They almost passed out, like, oh my God, he speaks. And the running joke in my family is, as you can see, is that I haven't shut up since.
Yeah. Although I think you would have looked really cute in those pink boots.
You know what? Actually, real men do wear pink.
That's
Donald
right.
Trump started it, and now that other kind of stuff. And actually, I do have quite a few pink ties and shirts.
Yeah,
and stuff, so.
yeah, moving right along. Yeah. But so okay, so you had a rough start to life. Didn't talk until you were 3. So, but you were still now growing up. In your early teens, you're still living in not exactly the best of neighborhoods.
No, not the best. And my mother actually married my stepfather when I was about 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old, and that was one of the most amazing things to me. And I love him so much. He's my dad.
That's nice.
And when he came in and came into my life, it was like the perfect time, right at when kids really can go down one path or another. It's that middle school age. You're trying to find yourself, all that good stuff. And but even with that influence, just growing up in Philadelphia and being around a lot of negativity, some positivity, but a lot of negativity all around you. Even I almost lost my life on my 16th birthday, which was crazy as well. A friend of mine, well, a cousin and a friend of mine, evidently were involved in some things I didn't know that they were involved in. And I'll never forget it. It was my 16th birthday, and I went to go hang out with them, and I was going to just stay the whole weekend over at my cousin's house. And we were up in an area in Philly, which is not really a terrible area, but called Mount Airy. And it was a late evening, and a guy evidently who had some dealings with with either my cousin or the friend, and something went wrong and was bad and what have you, and they actually pulled out a gun and pointed the gun at each and every one of us. And thank God there was a cop car that happened to be circling the neighborhood, because that's the only reason I believe that we're still here. Of course, by the grace of God, but but yeah. In the physical, definitely, because the gun was literally pointed at me and the other 2 guys. And and it's amazing. At 16, I mean, all I could remember was, wow, I'm about to be another statistic. And they say that young African American men won't even live past, their 16th or 18th birthday, for that matter. And to be standing there and to kind of be trying to be a good kid and try to do the things you're supposed to do and do the right things, and and it was never so real to me, that whole law of association. And as I got older now, that I coach and train and speak and that type of stuff, I'm able to share those types of stories with other individuals. But like I said, we have to be very careful of the company we keep, even if it's family.
Okay, so bridge the gap for me. So we've started off, we've told people, about this just wonderful professional life that you've had over the last period of time, and where you started, that it was really tough, single parent, mother had you when 60, all of that. Bridge the gap. What were some of the things that were the turning points in between the two? Because there's some of the things that the listeners are going to be going, well, hang on a minute, I can relate to that. And I'd love some of that, being able to inspire and being able to be the success that I want to be.
Right.
What are the bits in the middle, Chris?
Wow, well, there's a lot of bits in the middle, but I'll share a couple with you. The number one thing I believe was just that my grandmother and my aunt and my mother, they all just repeated to me over and over again that I could do anything that I wanted to do, and I could be an amazing people, and I didn't have to be a statistic, and I could change people's perceptions of young African American men, and I could do all these other types of things, and that repeated reinforcement of that was great. Now I say that with a caveat, because once again I alluded to it a little earlier, that my biological father left my age when I was about 2 and didn't come back around until I was about 21. Now I'll tell you what happened there, even with my stepfather and everyone else in that middle time frame. What really happened is I went through, although it looked like I was involved in these activities and doing these other great and wonderful things, I was hurting. I was really hurt. And I was hurt because I didn't understand why my dad didn't want me. I didn't understand why he wasn't an active, participant in my life. And I thought that, through all of these, be in this club and be the president of this and all that kind of stuff, that I could get the affections and attentions of other people and other things to make me not only a better person, but to make him want me. And it wasn't until I got probably in my late teens, probably actually when I got to college, that I really realized that, what, it doesn't matter, who did what to you, when, where, why, or how. It's what you're going to do with that experience in order to change the lives of others and make things better, so people don't have to actually go through that same thing. So I had to really, and it's a principle actually I wrote in my book called Achieve Your Dreams. I wrote about L, which is love yourself first and most. And it came to a point that although I thought that I was, quote unquote, on the right path and doing somewhat of the right things you're supposed to do, it was still a void there. I wasn't truly loving myself because I was still looking for that fatherly affirmation through accolades and other people and other things. And you know what? All that has to come from within. And I know there's a lot of listeners out there that may have had similar experiences or can relate to that. But definitely, loving yourself first and most is a pivotal thing. And until you get that, a lot of the other things in life won't actually come together.
So it's kind of like there's a quote by Norman Vincent Peale. I think it's change your thoughts and you change the world. Exactly.
And your perspective of yourself. And, and also, I guess another thing that kind of tied in there, other than the reinforcement from my parents, realizing that I had to love myself first and most. The other thing is that I had to realize that everybody's path is different. And I didn't have to be like everyone else, and I didn't have to do everything the way that everybody else did it. I could be original. One of my amazing mentors and friends, Jonathan Sprinkles, always says, "You were born original, so why live like a copy?"
And Jonathan is definitely an original.
Exactly. He is, yes, he's very original.
He
but
is.
And that, and just realizing that, and it's funny, I realized that even before knowing that quote. But that was huge for me. And, like I said, I've failed classes, and I've been through experiences where I've, come short tons and tons and tons of times. But I remembered that, and I've begun to read more and those types of things as I got older, and I realized that, success is what you make it. We have everything we need to succeed. It's just a matter of connecting the dots and bringing those things together.
Okay, well, on that note, let's go to a short break and we'll come back to find out a little bit more about what Chris is actually doing in the community, some of the programs that he's involved with and some of the success stories that have come from some of those. Back soon.